The podcast that you're about to listen to may cause some listeners to stand up and be blessed.
Well, hey there, Happy Innovators. How are you all doing today? I hope that you're doing well, and I guess I'm doing pretty good today. I'm just sitting in my studio and reflecting a little bit on that release I did yesterday of that remix version of the Little Mix song Salute. And, I gotta tell you guys that yesterday when I released that remix, I was kind of watching my YouTube numbers a little bit yesterday. And, I've kind of suspected over the years, and I guess I kind of know that YouTube is not always fair to people. And for one reason or another, I notice sometimes, I can literally watch my view count get clicked down throughout the day. I don't get that many views anyway, which is kind of weird. But even the small amount of engagement that I do get from my audience, the numbers are probably not accurate. So I just wanted to say that for the record, does it bother me a lot? No, I guess it bothers me a little, but not enough to have me stop releasing stuff on YouTube. But I am slowly starting to change my mind about that, So I'm not going to say too much more about it. I hope that you guys enjoyed the remix, those of you who watched it and commented. I saw all the comments. I didn't respond like I said I wasn't going to. So I hope you're not offended by that, but just for now, I think that's the way that I'm going to go until I can think about it some more and how I want to handle that. But I just want you guys to know that when you look at the view count on my stuff and it's so low, I'm not 100% sure that that's organic. Okay, that number you see. And I'm definitely getting the impression, especially after the experiment that I ran yesterday, that YouTube is not treating my channel in a fair way. So, that's all I want to say about it, but it's truth, okay? I don't know how you guys feel about all that, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not the only one. Maybe somebody out there can share some insights on, how YouTube has not been fair to them. And I don't really know why that is, but I guess ultimately at the end of the day, I don't really care, but I do work hard on this stuff. I put time in and energy into it, and I want it to do well. And it's pretty weird and pretty discouraging sometimes to sit there and I can literally watch my video view count drop, right in front of my eyes, it clicks down. Strange, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, free speech is a very important thing to me. And I know that lately, in the news and politically and socially, really all around the world, there are issues with free speech and the practice of free speech and the understanding of what that means for, our communities and even us, as individuals, right? And I think that it's worth talking a little bit about today because, as you know, I watch a lot of YouTube. I pretty much watch it all the time. I don't watch television anymore. I haven't watched regular television since 2008. And so because I take in so much content on YouTube, a lot of the time I'm not even watching, I'm just listening, But I'm noticing like this trend, and I've noticed it over the past few years. It's certainly not something I'm just noticing now, but I'm noticing it enough now to actually talk about it. And it's this idea of self-censorship that I'm seeing. And it's like a wave of it. A lot of the content creators on YouTube are censoring their own speech and replacing certain words with, different words to describe what they're trying to say. Like there's certain words you're not allowed to say anymore. Like you can't say the word suicide. And if you do, you won't get your money, your ad revenue from YouTube or whatever. But like every time I hear them doing that, they'll say somebody unalived themselves, or something stupid like that, rather than just saying somebody killed themselves. You have to change your speech if you want to get paid. And the only reason that I'm able to even say this stuff on this podcast is because I don't get paid for it. I don't take any money for it, and I don't want any money for it, because as soon as you start taking money for what you're doing, as soon as you rely on that money as a source of income or whatever, then you're more apt to do things like censor yourself and change what you say, change what you talk about. And the point that I'm trying to make here is that what these content creators don't realize is that every time they do that, they're reinforcing this idea that we no longer have free speech. It's like they're changing what they say in order to keep making money. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's so dangerous. It's such a slippery slope. And I get it. Not everybody is in a situation where they can say no to ad revenue and they can say no to the money. And maybe that has something to do with why my YouTube channel is not doing as good as it could or whatever. I mean, I've been doing this now for a long time, on every other platform I'm on for the most part, at least the ones that count. Like I'm doing like significantly better than I'm doing on YouTube, and which bums me out a little bit because I love YouTube. I do. I watch it all the time. I'm always on YouTube working in my studio doing something, and in between or while I'm working on something really tedious, I'll be listening or watching and listening to something, right? So it's kind of a bummer that as a audience member, I'm participating all the time, but as a content creator, it's a little strange. It's a little sketchy, So it bothers me though, because what's slowly happening is like this erosion of people's ability to speak openly and freely. Like the implication, at least to me, is that you as an audience member can't handle me saying that somebody committed suicide or that somebody was killed or whatever the words are that you're not allowed to say. But isn't that insulting to you as an audience, that I'm talking to you like you're a child and I can't say certain words because you can't handle it? It's so strange. Like, who are the people in charge of making those decisions at a company like YouTube? And ultimately, I get it, they're a private corporation. I mean, they can make the rules or whatever, but I'm starting to see, and I'm starting to actually, I guess I'm starting to change. Like there's a slow migration happening over to Rumble by a lot of people now, because Rumble is becoming the place where you can talk openly and freely, and YouTube is just slowly choking itself off. It's like I really believe that the people that work at YouTube that are in charge, they don't really see a day coming when they go the way of MySpace, And I could be wrong, that may never happen, but I don't know. I just kind of see the writing on the wall. Like, if you keep censoring people or forcing them to censor their speech in order to get paid, a lot of people will have no choice but to move off of YouTube and go onto another platform that allows them to speak freely, especially if Rumble can ever catch up to YouTube's numbers. And while that may seem unlikely right now, I don't know. In the era that we're living in, I think it is a strong possibility. It'll take a long time for that to happen, but I kind of think that it needs to. Like, if we want to recapture this idea of speaking openly and freely as adults, something's going to have to change. Either YouTube is going to have to change, or the content creators are just going to have to boogie and move on to somewhere else. Rumble is the only one that seems to have a little bit of a foothold. It's going to be, over the next few years, maybe it'll be a new place, but I think Rumble, because they've already been around for a while. And, I don't even know if other people are noticing this streak of self-censorship, but I notice it all the time. I notice it more now. It's happening more. Like, people are not allowed to say certain words. And it's like, by saying something like, if you abide by our rules, you will get the money. And if you don't, you won't. Like, they're in control of speech in America. And I think that is kind of something that we need to pause for a moment and really think about. It's a bigger deal than it seems, and it starts with small incremental things, like there's certain words you're not allowed to say. But, YouTube is not free. If you want a reasonably good version of YouTube, you have to pay for it. So if I'm paying for something like that, and I do, then I'm going to want content that is not censored. It's not altered. And YouTube has got this situation where, I don't know, they've kind of got this community of people all around the world that are releasing videos on their platform that kind of got them by the throat, and you may not see it that way, but I do. And I think that it's something that we need to combat somehow. And like I was saying, it's either going to be like YouTube changes, which it won't, or people will start to migrate over to other platforms, like in a major way. And I don't know if any of you guys have been checking out Rumble lately, but it's doing pretty good. And there's some money behind it, a lot of money behind it, actually. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit today. Pay attention to that, how often you listen to something on YouTube and the people who are creating content are changing what they're saying. They're altering their speech in order to get paid on YouTube. And if they don't play by the rules like that, then they're not allowed to succeed. And that's all I'm going to say about it today. Okay. The other day I was watching this TED Talk on YouTube, and it was a TED Talk from a guy by the name of Frank Warren. And basically what the story is that this guy, Frank Warren, used to work on a suicide prevention hotline. And he did that for several years. And he came up with this idea after doing that for a while to start this thing with these postcards that he made. And the postcards were basically like, tell me like your deepest, darkest secret and it was like an anonymous kind of thing. So he had a stack of these postcards made up, and he started handing them out to people just randomly. And it was a self-addressed stamped postcard. All you had to do was write down on this postcard your deepest, darkest secret and put it in the mail. You didn't have to sign your name to it. It was anonymous. Nobody would ever know who you were or whatever. And this guy, you know, after handing these postcards out to people, he started to get some of them back. And people were, you know, writing down their secrets, and they would send them to him. Now, this is years ago, okay? Well, fast forward to now, and it's turned into this humongous, I don't even know, maybe like an industry that this guy has started. There are books featuring these postcards. There are, you know, people constantly sending him stuff in. It's just kind of turned into this gigantic operation. It's pretty amazing, really, when you consider how he got started and everything. And the reason that I'm talking about it is not because it's so successful and, you know, whatever, all that kind of stuff. It's more like you have the opportunity now to go to his website and you can read some of the things that people are saying. And oh my gosh, it's incredible. It is incredible. The things that people are saying. And it turned into this thing where people started to make their own postcards, and they would send them in, and like almost like an art form, really. And it's so profound, some of the things that people are saying. And I don't know, I guess it kind of struck me a little bit hard, because like in the times that we're living in right now, with this idea of censorship and like all that kind of stuff, like the suppression of truth, you know, suppressing truth and regulating what people are allowed to say and think and do. There's a push for that. They're trying to do that. But this operation this guy's got going on, this Frank Warren at postsecret.com, is kind of like flying in the face of that. And really what it reveals is like inside of every single one of us, every one of us is this common thread, you know, that we all have something like that. And we are connected that way. Like we are different, yes, and we have different beliefs and different thoughts and ideas, different haircuts, different clothes, different countries, different cities, right? Different friends, different likes and dislikes, but in the core of all people, there are these secrets like that for some people are like crippling, and you know, lives are ruined by the burden of these secrets. And it's, I don't know, it hit me like a ton of bricks, you know, just reading some of these postcards from people that are suffering. It's really amazing. And some of them are funny, some of them are light, and, you know, they're not dark and gloomy. Not everybody's the same, but everybody's got something they could write down on one of these postcards. And, you know, I've talked about this before in my podcasts, where it's like, by doing this podcast, okay, if I talk about something, if I say it, it kind of vaporizes like into smoke. So I could have something that's been bothering me for years, and if I address it and if, you know, I talk about it on my podcast, you know, it kind of like disappears, and I don't even think about it anymore. You know, it's a strange thing. And I would imagine that this idea with these postcards that people are sending in to this guy, it's a similar kind of idea. You know, by saying it to somebody, it helps it to go away, or at least to like diminish enough where people don't have to be burdened anymore by that kind of thing. And, you know, you may not want to admit it. Some people do, some people don't, but that kind of stuff can be debilitating, you know? And it's fascinating to me. You know, I've said 1,000 times on this podcast over the years that, like, if I hadn't have been a musician, like if music wasn't the route that I would have gone, I would have gone into like cultural anthropology. Okay, I'm fascinated by people and stuff like that. The inner workings of a community and how people think and how people operate. I love that kind of stuff. The human experience for all of us, like every single one of us, is like broad. You know, life is a really strange experience sometimes. And I don't know, it was just by reading these postcards from people that you just can't help but realize that it's what we're talking about here is a very powerful thing, you know? And the proof is in the pudding. I mean, this guy has made books and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, he's built up like this industry around this idea, you know, and now he's got millions of postcards, you know, warehouses filled with postcards from people that just anonymously wrote something down. And what's also interesting is it's branched out into other things. So now there's a guy who, inspired by this postsecret.com, started this website where people who find cameras, check this out, people who find cameras, like randomly, they'll be walking through the park and they'll find a roll of film, or they're on the beach and they'll find a disposable camera, you know, from back in the day or whatever. You know, they'll find this camera or this iPhone, you know, with photos on it, and they'll upload these photos to this website called ifoundyourphotos.com, and people who have lost pictures that they took can go to this website, and if they see their pictures, they can get them back. Isn't that amazing? And like, the pictures are just random things, you know, that mean nothing to most people, but can you imagine? Like, there was this one example I can talk about where there was a woman who had a baby, and the pictures that they took around the birth of her baby were lost. They lost the pictures, but somebody found them and they uploaded them to this website, and now this woman, like 4 years later, can see the photos and she got them back. Okay, but like I said, the point here that I'm trying to emphasize is that in this age that we're in right now, where it seems kind of dark, and there's a lot of movement towards the suppression of ideas, the suppression of speech and truth, and you know, you have to guard what you say, or you know, otherwise you're going to get in trouble, or you know, whatever. There's also at the same time this movement of people that are sending in these postcards, and they're participating in something like that. And I guess it goes along the lines of like this idea of this thing called the internet that is responsible for so much bullshit in the world. You know, there's a lot of negative stuff, and you know, negative stuff is salacious. So that's what gets talked about. That's what we hear about, right? But at the same time, on this thing we call the internet, there's something like that, you know, where it's the opposite. It's the counter movement. You know, it's ultimate truth and, you know, expression of deep and serious ideas on these silly little postcards. You know, I would encourage anybody who's listening to this podcast right now to go check it out. You know, it will blow your mind. What a brilliant idea, you know, giving people who, a lot of these people, I mean, some of the stuff they're talking about is so heavy, you know, and, a burden, right? A burden that they're carrying. And they have an opportunity to, like, set those bricks down, Stop carrying that load. And it's I guess I would say it's something that I've experienced personally, like I said, because, part of the deal with this podcast is, a little bit of that. I talk about things and it's like they just turn into smoke. And my wife and I have talked about it a lot over the years because she's noticed that, like, I've changed that way, where I don't talk about certain things so much anymore, or I don't talk about certain people so much anymore. I got a couple of things to work through still, but at least I'm on that kind of path a little bit, like in my own strange way. But I think that this idea with this dude is better than what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, that he's got the right idea, and I wish I would have thought of it, but I guess you would have to be the kind of person that he is and do the kind of work that he did, working for that suicide prevention hotline. Like, you'd have to do that for a while in order to get the inspiration. So, like, I was never going to get there, but he did, and it's one of those things that, maybe like once every 3 years, I'll find something like that. And it just kind of changes everything. I mean, it's like, wow, people are so cool sometimes, and people have such great ideas. And, oh my gosh, the stuff that people say, this guy, Frank Warren, man, he's like saving lives. There are people that are writing stuff in on these postcards that will just melt you. It's like, it's amazing. It's amazing. That's all I can say. So I encourage you all, my happy innovators, to go to that website, postsecret.com, and just flip through it. Just check it out. It will change you. Just reading some of the things that people say. And like I said, it's not all gloom and doom and sad. Some of it's actually pretty damn funny. The things that some of the things that people have done, that's pretty much all that I wanted to say about that. It's pretty important, I think, for people to know about it. It's pretty remarkable. Yeah. So anyway, January 2nd, 2023. That was the day that I released the last Mike TV episode. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. There were quite a few people that really enjoyed it, It's kind of an off-the-wall idea. I think I did 4 or 5 episodes, and then, like, I had to stop because I was running into a wall with YouTube. Yeah, my buddies, YouTube, and getting copyright strikes because all I was trying to do was feature music and talk about music, and there were a lot of problems with that. And I wasn't even getting paid for any of it, I would agree for the record companies and the publishing companies, like whoever was collecting the revenue from my videos, like they could have the money. Like, I don't care about the money. It is not. Okay, this whole thing, this Pipe Choir thing, Pipe Choir Records, PC3, everything I do, okay, is not about the money. Okay, Pipe Choir Records, Mike Bostwick world is kind of like an experiment to be a quote-unquote artist that's not asking for any money, okay? It's an experiment to do it, but not do it for the money, okay? So I thought that Mike TV was a good idea. It's just really kind of a way for me to share music that I like personally with you guys, you know? But I had to stop because I kept running into walls. Even though I was allowing them to take all the revenue, there were some record companies that would not allow their artists' music to be featured on anybody's YouTube channel. Okay, so I would do all this work, I would do all this stuff, and then, you know, in the 11th hour, right after I released it, right, or right when I was about to release it, I would get a strike and I would have to take, you know, this song out of the video, you know, so that would mean I'd have to go back into my editing, edit that song out, and all that. It was like just a bunch of bullshit, you know. All I wanted to do was share with you music that I liked. So, you know, my wife had the idea of like, let's make a playlist on YouTube and share the playlist. You know, at least people would get the opportunity to check the music out. But like I said, January 2nd, 2023, is like a while ago now. And both my wife and myself had thought about like how we wanted to do it, maybe to find a way. And so after years of brainstorming, a couple years of brainstorming, we came up with this idea of releasing the videos that I'm going to make on Rumble, okay, because Rumble will allow me to do it. So for all you happy innovators out there that are interested in this kind of thing, I have made a new Mike TV, okay, but it will not be available on YouTube. It'll only be available on Rumble. And what I'm going to ask from you, okay, is that if you go to my Rumble to watch Mike TV, leave a comment for me, okay? Tell me what you think. Tell me if it's something you think you'd be into seeing more of. And we're going to see how it works. There may still be some problems. I'm not sure. I kind of expect the worst, hope for the best, and pray for something in between. But I'm kind of really excited about it again. And, you know, I had a lot of fun making it. And I have so much music I would love to share with you guys, you know? So if you're into that, I should have it available to you Friday, March 28th, which is technically tomorrow, because I'm making this podcast on the 27th. So if you guys are into it, check it out, okay? I'm excited about this. I hope that it works out. And, you know, that's really all I got for you today. But, hey, I did like a whole Mike TV for you and a podcast this week. So hopefully you'll enjoy it as much as I did, you know? So with that, my happy innovators, check out the Mike TV. Let me know what you think of it, okay? And if you want to keep what you've got to give it away. Take it easy, everybody. Okay, all you happy innovators that were kind enough and generous enough with your time to listen all the way through to the end of the podcast to hear some music. I got an oldie but goodie for you. A song I released almost a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago now, from the Days Away album from PC3. It's the title track, Days Away. And I gotta tell you, the video for this song is still one of my best. I mean, I love this video. So here we go. Without further ado, the PC3 song, Days Away, the title track from the album, Days Away. Here we go. Check it out. Have fun. Be safe. Take it easy, everybody.
days away.